My name's Justin Gooker. Essentially, I started off as a college student that wasn't following the Lord. At the end of my freshman year, I agreed to move in with my girlfriend. And I don't know if it was just the conviction or just the guilt that I felt, but I ended up breaking up with her, but we were still on a lease to actually live together. So we're in this horrible situation, and basically to solve the moral crisis within me, I started drinking a lot. And in November, I was walking down the main plaza of our campus, and this random blonde white guy comes up to me and goes, "Apa kabar?" which means, "How are you?" in Indonesian. And I was so confused because I grew up in Indonesia, but I'm white. I don't look like I've grown up in Indonesia. He's white. He doesn't look like he's ever lived anywhere near Indonesia. But somehow he remembered me from an interaction we had early on in my freshman year. And the Lord just prompted him to reach out to me and say that. And he and I ended up getting lunch. That was Eric Sandquist. And we were sitting there at Subway, and I was telling him about a lot of the things I was going through in life. And I remember him telling me that it sounded like I needed to turn back to Jesus and stop rebelling and to repent of the way I was living my life. And I was really not interested in that. I kind of blew him off in my mind. I was like, all right, well, good therapy session. And 10 days later, I'm driving home drunk from a bar, and I get pulled over and get thrown in jail for a DUI. And I just remember sitting in my jail cell thinking, all right, God, it seems like you're pursuing me. It seems like you're trying to get my life back in your hands. You want me to surrender. Well, I don't like where my decisions have landed me in life, so fine. If you can get me through this, then you can have my crummy life. I just had this inner turmoil at the time of, I didn't like my major. I was getting drunk all the time, and that DUI just really put a lot of things into perspective. I kind of started hanging out with Eric a lot more. He invited me to his small group and started challenging me to read 1 John, and it was really encouraging to start actually getting back into my Bible. And I remember thinking, all right, God, my life is yours. What do you want me to do? And by December, by Christmas time, I remember hearing from him that he wanted me to move out and not live with my ex-girlfriend anymore. And I was thinking, I have no clue how to make that happen, but I ended up getting a job at the Melting Pot, and so I was making a lot of money outside of college, and it just felt like God prompting and directing my steps. And so I ended up moving out. I was paying rent at 2 different apartments. I was just living in this horrendous basement that I called Vomit House because my 2 upstairs neighbors had a dog that would vomit all over the carpet upstairs, and they wouldn't ever clean it up. And it was just this horrendous living space. But I would go home. I didn't have enough money to really eat, and I didn't have enough time to really do anything. And I would just go home and I would just pray, and I would just cry out to God. And I remember just diving into my Bible. And during this season, Eric challenged me to really develop my life of prayer and my personal relationship with God. And he started asking me about being on leadership with Chi Alpha. And I agreed to do it, and I ended up becoming a small group leader. And I just started really getting invested in community and feeling this responsibility to share the gospel with the other students that I knew on campus. And the ones especially that were living lost lives. And now I'm actually a full-time staff member with Chi Alpha here at CSU. So it's been just really awesome to see how God has directed me and led my steps from a drunk kid walking down the plaza at CSU to now being on campus, reaching out to hopefully the drunk kids walking down the plaza. In between high school and college, I actually did a gap year in this country called East Timor. Looking back now, I feel like it was really a wasted opportunity in terms of the time that I got with people in East Timor. And I've often lamented it, but it was really funny because this last year, actually, For the first time, I'm pretty sure in CSU's history, we have 3 Timorese students, so they're from East Timor, and I've been able to reach out to them, and I've just become really good friends with the 3 of them. And I really have felt like God has brought back this ability to redeem this time that I had, where I can reconnect with this culture and reach out to these students that have this once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to study in America. I've really felt like what God has done in me, He's really wanted to do through me. And I see that with these Timorese guys, where God has changed my life and redeemed it, and He wants to do the same in the lives of those around me.